Have you ever gone back and read an old dream only to realize that you couldn't understand it until years later? That has happened to me more than once. The year following my late husband's death, I found that my dreams were not coming true in chronological order. Sometimes the dream from years later are what you need for the dream that you had years earlier. This dream reminded me of that lesson all over again. At first, it looked like it was a dream about a closed restaurant and a donut, a police officer who flees the scene after causing damage. But the more I ruminated on it, the more I realized that it was not different stories. It's a continuation of a narrative that has been playing out over dreams over many years. And I think it's one of the biggest proofs of why you need to be writing your dreams down. If you're new here, every Monday and Thursday, we break down real dreams and find the hidden meaning inside of them. Let's break down this next one. This dream is from August 2nd of 2022. All the fast food places, including Taco Bell, we missed. They all closed at 8 p.m. because it's Christmas Eve and we have nothing to eat. I'm at a gas station of some sort, maybe, or a convenience restaurant. There are pastries, and I think I get a glazed donut. I leave payment on the register counter. They cost $1. A guy in a white truck crashes into a business sign and then gets out of his truck and runs. I'm there with my father-in-law, Rod, later, and the guy that did the damage is a cop. I tell Rod not to say anything, as I'm afraid the guy will retaliate or hurt us. In the end, he is getting found out, and the danger is increasing. Let's jump right in where every fast food restaurant is closed, including Taco Bell. That leaves us with nothing to eat. What stands out first to me is not that I'm hungry, and you think that would because I've had so many dreams about being hungry, but actually what stands out on this one is that the restaurants are closed. Every place that I would naturally think to go is no longer available. Not because something had gone wrong, but because the season has changed. And Taco Bell really caught my attention because I recognized that Taco Bell has shown up in at least one other dream of mine. When a specific symbol or person shows up in multiple dreams, then it tells me to go back, look at the commonalities in their dreams, and begin to maybe build a pattern around that. Dreams often will build themes over time instead of trying to just drive home one single message. And I'm still watching this Taco Bell pattern. Now, this next one is exciting for me. It's Christmas Eve. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you've probably heard me talk about Christmas a lot. Christmas is incredibly significant in my dream language. So this dream isn't just about Christmas. It's about what comes immediately before Christmas. That feels incredibly meaningful because it's a transitionary dream. It's showing me transition. One season is ending and another season is about to begin. The old day is over, but the new one hasn't quite arrived yet. I think this dream is preparing me for that in-between place. The restaurant closes at 8 p.m. and consistently over my dream language, 8 means a new beginning. That doesn't mean that 8 is going to mean that for everyone, but for me and my dream language, that is the primary meaning. Instead of hearing everything's closed, I hear this source is closed because you've arrived at a new beginning. That completely changes the emotional tone of this dream. And here's the next part that I love because of, the common things in my recent dreams is that the dream doesn't leave us hungry anymore. Immediately, I find a convenience store and they have pastries there and I select a glazed donut. I love this part because the source changes, but the provision doesn't disappear. And I also love that the provision isn't just survival, it's sweetness. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the dream, and that is because I lay down a $1 bill. Why is that my favorite part of the dream? Because of a previous dream. But it's actually not a previous dream. It's a dream that I had exactly 2 years and 2 months later. And here is what is going to blow your mind. I have talked about this previous dream before. There's ice cream, Someone has taken one bite out of it. I want a better ice cream than what I'm having, but I don't necessarily want to eat what someone else has eaten. Then at the end, I'm trying to lay down a $1 tip, but I keep laying down a 10. Do you remember that? And I broke it down for you, showing that I keep trying to lay down a $1, which is a new beginning, it's the start of something. But I keep laying down a 10, which is like the completion of something. And I was explaining, like, I'm so freaking tired of 10s. I'm so freaking tired of the season extending and extending as part of this completion of a cycle. Well, in this dream, I lay down that number 1. I lay down that start of something. Then everything shifts. A white truck crashes into a business sign. A business sign, not a business. That detail really made me pause because signs communicate direction. They identify where something is. They point people towards the destination. This situation is showing damage to or a relational damage to the sign or the direction towards the destination, but not the destination itself. Then I discover that the driver is actually a police officer, and the emotional feelings, the emotional context of the dream changes. Fear enters my dream at this time. Now, what does a police officer represent? They represent someone that upholds the law. They represent an authority. They represent order, law and order. Something about an authority in my life seems connected to avoiding accountability. Now, I'm still watching the pattern in that part of the dream. The next part of that same scene, however, I have gotten a lot of clarity about, and that is my father-in-law, Rod, and he's shown up in over 10 dreams over the last 6 years. So I pattern mapped him until I got to the core of what he represents in my dream language. He often shows up in moments where he represents provision, discernment, like a steady work or practical help. I don't believe he represents an actual person in my life. I believe he represents another portion of me. Like my sister Maxine represents my emotional self and how I relate to my emotional self. My father-in-law, Rod, appears to be representing the grounded center that I return to when life kind of pulls me one direction or another. It's my core, my center of who I am. And if that's what he represents in my dream language, then that really makes this part of the scene very interesting. Fear is present, and an authority in my life is not wanting to take accountability, yet my grounded center is still there beside me. Now, I tell my father-in-law not to say anything, not because I don't know the truth of what happened, but because I'm afraid of retaliation or negative result from speaking up. And then the end brings resolution anyways. If Rod really represents that core center that I come back to, then this scene isn't just about telling another person to stay quiet. It may be showing what fear does inside of us. Sometimes fear can become so loud that it drowns out that center core person that we are inside. But the dream ends in a very encouraging way. The truth still begins to come to the light, and not because I forced it. Not because I called anyone out, but because it naturally just comes to the light. That gives me a tremendous amount of peace. Sometimes our responsibility isn't to force everything into the light. Sometimes it's just to remain grounded while the truth unfolds. This dream has reminded me of the lesson that I've been learning over and over again over the last year. Dreams don't always unfold like chapters in a book. Oftentimes, they behave more like a web of information, meaning a dream from today can illuminate a dream from years ago, or vice versa. A dream from years ago can illuminate a situation you're walking through today. Another reoccurring symbol, another location, another number, and then suddenly everything starts to connect. And that is why I encourage you to keep a dream journal, because not every dream is going to make sense immediately. Today's confusing detail in that dream can be the exact puzzle piece that you're going to need in the future. This dream is showing me that the end of a season does not mean the end of provision. It is an invitation to recognize that provision is now going to come from a different source. Your dreams are not going to reveal everything at once. They're going to reveal those needed details over weeks, over months, and then sometimes over years. One of the most valuable lessons I have learned from dream interpretation over the last year is that understanding them is going to grow over time. Sometimes a dream you've already forgotten is going to become incredibly important in the future. Sometimes a reoccurring symbol is going to connect two dreams that you never would have seen connection between otherwise. And sometimes what looks like an ending turns out to be the beginning of so much more. And that's why I keep writing my dreams down, because you never know when one dream is going to become that missing piece that you need to unlock another. If you made it through to the end of this episode, thank you. The time you choose to spend with me really means a lot. And if you would like help with your own dreams, I have a free community for that. I also have one-on-one sessions you can sign up for. Just see the links below. And if not, just come on back and see me here, because you know what? Your story really does matter. I'll see you next time.